Make sure you put it back. Get out of the car. It's that hard.
You voted all
And then
day.
he yelled at them. So. Be calling in.
Still here. You may want to give it a shot.
Right.
I'll see you.
Here's my- Where were you at before you were here? What was your job before here? School. Job is like this. He must have the meanest boss. And he's ignoring me while I'm talking.
Morning, who we have?
I'm saying all these wonderful things about you. Ignoring me.
Good morning, Nancy. Morning, everyone. It's 10 a.m. We ask you to please rise if you're able for the opening prayer of pledge of allegiance before we convene our Commissioners' public meeting. Dear gracious and almighty God, we thank you for this day. You grant us as tomorrow was never promised. Help us to share in meaningful discussion that will produce positive results for our community. May our decisions be in accordance with your will. Lord, tomorrow we'll recognize the 34th anniversary of the American Disabilities Act. May we always take time to see how we can help and assist those with disabilities. And we thank you for their lives and talents that they share with mankind. Let us educate and strive to eliminate any barriers that they may face. We lift up those that work with individuals with diverse abilities. We ask you to give them strength, compassion, understanding, and guidance. Father, on Saturday, we'll remember the end of the Korean War 71 years ago. We'll never forget the approximate 40,000 American soldiers paid the ultimate sacrifice and 100,000 that were wounded. We thank you for those veterans that did make it home safely. We pray for our active military members and veterans each day. A group of those that serve will celebrate their birthday on Monday, those being the Army chaplains that were authorized by the Continental Congress in 1775. Their valuable service is another testament of service of country, God and country. May your hand be over us and guide us this morning. These things we humbly place before you. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we'll convene the Commissioners' public meeting, and we have an addition to the agenda items 4.6 through 4.5. Director.
Yes, Commissioner seeking your approval to add items 4.6 through 4.9 to the agenda that were not previously posted. This is to approve resolution 2024-N, which is a grant application. 4.7, the actual grant application itself. Another resolution, 2024-11, for another grant application. Go to the application for that resolution.
Okay. Motion to add those agenda items.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Fair side.
Aye.
Aye. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All fair side.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, do we have any public comments on agenda items only? Yes.
Name's John Sharman, Jersey Shore.
Right.
I have a present to get one of the county commissioners, because one of the other meetings I was too, we had a dispute who was one of the best baseball players in history. So here's a bookmark. I will give you, but it's yours to keep it as mine.
Am I in here?
No.
What do I want?
I can reassure you, you're not. I've seen you play.
Say he's the greatest player of all time.
I know you want to say Hank. But anyways, that's.
We'll have a discussion about that. He was pretty good. He was pretty good. It's heavy. It is. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
I surround the house and I don't know what's going to happen.
Heavy. I just saw Larry Boa, so I'm not sure how thorough this book is. But anyway,
Really faithfully disagree with you.
thank you. All right. I appreciate it.
I know you rooted for Pittsburgh, it's lost so many damn times over the years.
I
Keep it in health, Mark.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other public comments this time? Okay, moving on to reports. Krista, Maureen.
Presented for your ratification are invoices due through July 31st to be paid on July 24th for $1,493,738.79. From the general fund, $756,972.22 for a percentage of 50.68. From other grants, $224,751.78 for a percentage of 15.05. From RMS or the landfill, $505,673.79 for a percentage of 33.85%. From escrow, $6,341.00 for a percentage of 0.42.
Thank you. Motion to accept the accounts payable.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments for Krista? All fair side? Aye. Thank you.
You're welcome.
On to personnel actions, Mike.
And if I could make a plug for Roger Maris, North Dakota native, 61 and 61. Approve the following personnel actions as conditional offers of employment, subject to the successful completion of background check and all other employment conditions as outlined in attachment A. In the Public Defender's Office, Giovanna Daniele, temporary law clerk, pay grade 12, full-time, $57,876 per year, 75 hours per pay period with an anticipated start date of August 5, 2024.
Okay, motion,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
fair side?
Aye. You ever see 61, the movie?
I have. I've actually seen the Roger Maris Museum. And fun fact, my dad lived down the street from Roger Maris's mom in good old
Fargo.
Fargo,
I knew
North
I
Dakota.
think Billy Crystal directed the movie, actually.
Right.
Okay, moving on to action items.
4.1 and 2, Nancy.
Yes. Nancy, you're out.
So 4.1, juvenile probation is asking for your approval for our contract with Northampton County. This is a 23-24 contract we got in place because we did put a kid there in May. He is now out.
Okay, and it is 2024 approved budget item. So I have a motion,
I will make the motion.
I'll second.
fair side?
Aye.
Aye.
And then 4.2, we're asking for your approval for diversified treatment alternatives for the 24-25 contract season. As you can see, it's various programs, differing names for each one.
And motion,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
fair side?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners. Have a good day.
Thank you.
4.3 and 4.4, Maya.
Yes, these kind of go hand in hand. Good morning, Commissioners.
Where you want?
The first one is amendment number 1. That's to the retiree employment benefit program with Luminar Health. Basically, what it does is just distinguishes between the claims processor, between medical and prescription drugs.
Motion,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
all fair side?
Aye.
Aye.
So it's the same kind of amendment, but this one's for our senior employee benefit plan.
Motion,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
all fair side?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Maya.
4.5, Commissioners Seek your approval to ratify the interstate participation allocation of the Wave 2 settlements. This is the next round of opioid settlement payments. So this document allows us to receive payments. You'll see a payment schedule. This is from additional parties that were for the loss that only developed it.
Do you have any update on how those monies are being utilized in Lycoming County?
They've all been allocated to West Branch in the amounts that were identified for breakout areas.
They're paid, so even with a photo update.
All right, I know some of it was being utilized with the prison too. Yep, thank you.
Yep.
A motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Fair side? Aye.
4.6 through 4.9. Okay.
Appreciate it.
Record, I want to just talk to you a little bit about baseball. My grandfather was personal friends with Casey Stengel, the big Yankees in the 1950s. And my brother and I have this collection of actual photos when they were traveling on the bus to various ballparks. And a baseball signed to us by my grandfather, by Yogi Berra. Wow.
Hey, Katie.
Good morning. And before I start, I want to say thank you for accepting these agenda items. The first grant we were applying for, they suddenly extended the deadline. We thought we couldn't make it, but we decided we could. So I appreciate your flexibility. 4.6 is to approve Resolution 2410, authorizing the submission of a pre-application for funding from the Appalachian Regional Commission. It's the Area Development Fund portion of the ARC in the amount of $45,000. They pay 50% of the project costs. And the project is a feasibility study for a juvenile justice center. There's a 2-page application due at the end of this month. It's been written, was attached to the agenda items. That's all we forward at this time. And ARC and through CEDACOG and DCD will review our request and decide whether they're going to invite us to apply. If they do invite us, the application is due in December. And then it's a full-blown application. We've received one consultant proposal, and that's what we based our request on. An excellent proposal. We're talking tomorrow with the second consultant to see what they can offer. They're both Pennsylvania-based architectural firms with expertise in juvenile justice centers and delivery. Any questions you have? The brainchild of CA Marino.
Fantastic job on this. Really praise the outfit and twice all the time. Put the emphasis on me, but she's the one that put everything together without purpose for that. And also too, what I think, the administrator and commissioners, you have to scramble around. Some of these grants, they move deadlines around. Sometimes they extend it, and sometimes they shorten it. But we're doing everything we can to get the funding for this. And hopefully, if it's going like this and get accepted, we will be breaking ground on this facility sometime next year.
Yeah, I mean, we ask is that you make sure that you keep Maya and the solicitor on the same page with everything.
Yes, yes, my apologies.
No, and we would like to thank you for, being on top of it, to be aware that they moved the deadlines and we became available to things that wouldn't otherwise have been available, because sometimes those things get missed if you're not paying attention, and that would have been obviously detrimental. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And item 4.7 is the corollary to that, to approve the
Hey,
application.
hang on one second. We want to approve
Yes.
4.6.
Okay,
Now,
sorry.
motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All fair side?
Aye.
Okay. Now moving on to 4.7. Thank you.
Okay. 4.7 is the item that would, is your approval of the actual application.
Any motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All fair side?
Aye.
Thank you. And item 4.8 is resolution 2024-11, authorizing the submission of a grant request to Halliburton Corporation in the amount of $25,000. And I needed your permission in order to begin compiling this application. It's not complete. We need to do some outreach to Halliburton in advance of that. They don't have a deadline. It's a rolling deadline. They review what they've received every 3 months. So there's no real tight schedule on that one, but we can't proceed with it till we have your go ahead. And that is for to help the Narcotics Enforcement Unit purchase some important tactical and safety equipment that they've been needing and desiring for some time. And Mr. Ungar's here to fill you in if you want details on that.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so, we put together.
Could you please come up to the podium?
Sure.
Identify yourself.
My name's Tom Ungard. I'm the Chief County Detective for the District Attorney's Office. Some of these pieces of equipment we've been lacking, we feel that they're important, that can help us on our daily operations. One of the requests was a drone for aerial surveillance. That drone would have many applications for both the NEU unit and the county detectives for obtaining aerial photos of areas for different reasons, surveillance, putting together paperwork that would assist us in prosecution, would assist the district attorney's offices in the prosecution of cases. Jury likes to see things, they like to be visual. So it would help us put together a good map of what would happen, where things happen specifically, and show that to a jury. The spike strips, obviously that's for a safety type thing. We've had multiple pursuits. As of right now, we have no way to stop a vehicle that would be out of control or in a high-speed pursuit with us. We had borrowed some spike strips from Lycoming Regional when we were working a certain plan to arrest some people that were coming in from Michigan to deliver drugs. We kind of trapped them in the Wise parking lot up on Lycoming Creek Road and put spike strips on each end so that if they tried to get out of there, their cars would be incapacitated. We'd like to have our own instead of having to borrow them. We utilized the spike strips that night in a different, old Lycoming Regional got in a vehicle pursuit with a drunk driver, took them all over town throughout the county actually. And one of my agents that had those spike strips that we borrowed for another operation was able to get out in front of that pickup truck, deploy them and stop them. So they're an important tool when you need them. We like to have our own. The shock gloves, they're for compliance. Non-lethal compliance. We got those demonstrated on us a couple of weeks ago, and believe me, they work. They'll put a man to his knees immediately. He will become compliant as soon as it's a glove that looks like a tactical glove. All you do is touch the person on the wrist and they stop fighting and will comply immediately. Therefore, you can handcuff them. So that's an officer safety type issue, which also removes some liability from the county. The only other options you have would be like a taser gun. And we all know, you hit somebody with a taser, they fall down, hit their head. You got a problem with liability. There's heart attacks associated with those. So these are kind of a tool that can reduce some liability and help bring some people into compliance. The cameras, it's just something, we already have some cameras. They're 5 or 6 years old. Some of them are starting to go bad. The gears and stuff fail. We use those on a daily basis in the narcotics unit. We use them for each agent has a handheld camera. We'll have it in the car, and we utilize that for when we do control buys to capture that on video. The juries like to see that. They don't want to just hear us say what happened. They want to actually see it with their eyes. So these cameras are something that we need to replace that we had purchased in the past, and they're starting to wear out. So that's why they're on there. They're an integral part of our day whenever we're doing buys. So questions, that's what we have on that.
And the only thing we request is that, make sure that Maya, their purchasing agent and solicitor are on the same page.
Yeah, and I will tell you, there will be monies coming available, so, that's what's so important about that application piece, because as we work together, when I see stuff come in, I can apply, because like I had sent something to
Yes.
you earlier that
Yes.
we may be able to squeeze. So just if I know what your initiatives are, then I can do that. Because there are some monies that will probably be coming up. I think we missed it, but it'll be closer to next year, it'll be some JAG and local monies. We have historically used that for that kind of stuff, but it's gone to the prison for some of their tactical gear that they have out there. But this would be a great example of that. We would split those monies, with the city, which we're a disparate jurisdiction with those monies. So that would be a great, and it's usually around $11,000. So I would highly recommend that because that'll be like a shoe-in, honestly, if you always get it. So.
I'll send you an email too. I have made notifications to the DA's office and Sarah that does the budget. All county detectives are due for, except for me, and all but 2 are due for bulletproof vests next year.
Yes, because there's a grant now. Historically, we used to apply for that when I first came on board, and then they changed their formula. It's my understanding that they maybe have reversed that because there probably was a lot of grumbling from the rural counties that weren't getting reimbursed anymore. So we're going to start looking at that again. So that would be great because I would need to know that. I mean, I'll do due diligence in the budget to make sure we pull those, but if I can have a total number, that would be great. That would help us do those funding.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and we do have a request before the First Community Foundation Partnership right now for 8 vests. But that's not as many as you need, correct?
I'll have to look at it. That'll be close.
Okay. And we don't know if it'll be funded. Oh, did you?
Motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All fair side? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And 4.9, the vote to approve the grant application to Halliburton. That is still underway.
Okay, motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All fair side? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner comment.
Give me.
Yeah. I just want to say, obviously, on a national level, we saw great change in the presidential race over the weekend. And it's a historic time for our country that we had 2 former presidents running at the same time. It just doesn't happen. And now obviously that's changed. And I know when you hear the rhetoric of there's so much anger on each side. And I remember when Obama won that, the right thought the country was going to come to an end. And then when Trump won, the left thought the country was going to come to an end. And here we are churning away. And, no matter who wins in November, 20 years from now, our kids and our grandkids are going to be talking about, their issues at the time. If we can take away the anger and the emotion of it and just look at the historical levels of it, it really is a fascinating time in our country's history. And, no matter what happens, we will come out the other side. And obviously we have our beliefs and our wants, but if we can, especially to teach our younger kids to look at it academically and intellectually as opposed to emotionally, and it's a great process that we have here in this country, and it's we have our flaws, but it's certainly the best one in the world, and just to embrace what we have instead of being angry about the differences, because it is a very unique time for us right now. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. As I noted in my prayer, tomorrow is the 34th anniversary of the American Disabilities Act, and which was a historic piece of legislation by then President George Bush, Senior Bush, and it was vital that needed to be done. And some of the research that I've done on this, we have a diverse ability committee with the county that we started about 3 years ago that we meet on the 3rd Wednesday of each month. And We thanks for those different individuals and agencies that participated in that to bring awareness to the community and education. One thing I want to note this morning about disability flag. There's a disability pride flag that was designed in 2019 by Ann Miguel, who has cerebral palsy. And the original flag that she created had a zigzag stripe over a black background. And it symbolized the barriers that people with disabilities faced. However, the design of the flag caused symptoms with people that had visual disabilities. So she went back to the drawing table and redesigned the flag. And the diagonal band, that's 6 colors that she recreated, represents the light and creativity through darkness. Each of those 6 color stripes holds a meaning. The red that's in the flag is for the people that have physical disabilities. The gold in the flag is those who have neurodiverse abilities. The white in the flag is invisible disabilities and undiagnosed conditions. The blue is those who suffer from emotional and psychiatric disabilities. And in the green in the flag is individuals that suffer from sensory disabilities that includes deafness and blindness and other sensory disabilities. There's a faded black background that's in the flag that is to cover those that suffer from mourning and rage, victims of violence and abuse. So I found this really interesting as I researched this, that all the different, you think of someone who's handicapped, you think it might be just physical and the challenges they face, but there's so many different types of diverse disabilities out there that we have to be mindful and educated on those and try to assist these individuals to help them live a normal life, because they're full of talents and they can do so much for every one of us. They had such an important part of the workforce, many of them. I know that in my own personal life, my mom suffered a physical handicap the last 5 years of her life. She lost a leg, and I often would transport her around, and I saw some of the barriers that people that have physical liabilities or physical handicaps face, such as opening doors, getting up over curbs. Parking was an issue. Nothing aggravated me more than seeing somebody parked in a handicapped spot. They shouldn't be there. You know, that's just ignorance, and there's no need for that when you have other places you park, and those places are open to individuals that need to be able to park in those surroundings. So as we celebrate this day tomorrow and bring more awareness to it, education is so important. Know that the SIL is having an event on August the 10th, which is a Saturday down behind their building. They're actually going to have a parade through part of downtown Williamsport, and then they're going to have many activities over behind their agency on August the 10th. Encourage people to visit the vendors and see what they can do to maybe volunteer for some of these agencies to help and assist if you have the time. But just be mindful with people that have diverse abilities and how important they are in our society. By the grace of God, it could be any one of us at any time. And I just want to bring that attention to the history of the flag, which I thought was pretty important this morning, and what each color represents. Thank you.
I had another stupid trivial comment, since we were talking about baseball and Little League's right around the corner. Last weekend was the Baseball Hall of Fame induction, and my brother was up there again, and it's in Cooperstown, New York. And I didn't know this until he got in, but the Susquehanna River, the headwaters of the Susquehanna River, is a lake in Cooperstown, New York, and I should know the name of the lake, but I don't. But it's just a neat little tidbit in American history that Cooperstown runs. You know, our river runs from the Baseball Hall of Fame right down through Little League, and it's just a little trivial symbiotic, is that the right word? Part of our history, that our river kind of connects the old baseball with the kids' baseball and our portion of the world. That's it. Count that.
Public comment, yes.
Good morning, John Shireman, Jersey Shore, Pennsylvania. Want to commend the county commissioners for the nice new facilities we have here. What is outstanding, most important, you're talking about disabilities and things, is this camera system and the closed caption. I wasn't going to bring this up, but talking about disabilities, and there's a lot of people complaining about Lycoming County in some respects as to why the money's being used to update facilities for the handicapped and that in the local voting polls. And this is one thing that is what Scott pointed out. A lot of these facilities need upgraded by the federal government and local so that it is possible for everybody to cast their vote who wants to without running into physical barriers, opening doors, parking, and all this. And there's certain things that have to be. So on to a few things with it. Last time I was here, Scott brought up about the county going before PennDOT in 2017 being on it. But is there any explanation for that?
What was that, John?
The last county commissioners meeting I was here for, I brought up about Washy Run up there, and that the county went before PennDOT with incomplete plans, whatever. And I asked the reason why. Has there been any reason why that happened?
No, but we can follow up on that.
I would appreciate it.
Yeah, I can have them at the next meeting. I know they've been working on Washy Run.
I know.
Looking for additional funding. We've had some discussions with planning about
Yeah.
that.
Because if that, just to point out, I'm not nitpicking today, we're talking, okay?
Right, yeah.
And if that would have been completed and done as it should have, maybe in 2017, then maybe that project could be wound up by now. It saved me a lot of. And I was reading yesterday in the Sun Gazette, which concerns me a little bit, about certain officials from the Muncie Borough being invited up to State College with things. And it's been a year that all has been sold. The public here, we have $5 million in the game. There's been really no plans brought out publicly as to what are going to be done. Nothing's really been done down there. It's supposed to be paving. You go into Sam's Club, it is terrible. And I think that all people of the county are entitled to know what they're doing, whether it's speculative or not. And my big concern is that, as I had said before, the county commissioners meeting, there needs to be about $5 million in sewage. I'll update the sewage facilities around. They can only come up with a certain amount. Then they wanted Lycoming County or the committee or organization that it's in charge of the sewer system in Lycoming County, and that apply for grants. And if you can't come up with the money to take care of the basic needs first, that sets back, that stymies everything process. And the last thing, I know there was a couple of weeks ago here saying eliminating one position, one full-time position and 2 part-time positions, saving money. That's fine with it, but then again, you turned around, which is needed, sheriff for the Lycoming County, for the sheriff's office, and you're going to hire 5 more. So you're basically back to zero. But as I said to the Jersey Shore School Board a couple of weeks ago, and the superintendent and that, if you're preaching saving money, then the example starts at the top. And maybe a good gesture, and I'm going to ask all 3 of you to comment about it. This is the raises you got from 23 to 24 now. Might be a good thing to roll those back and set the example from the top. You can't be laying off people and accepting a pay raise and saying, well, we're going to save money. And I'm not picking on anybody in particular, but this is just the way I see the world. Anybody care to comment about that?
Well, John, we haven't laid anybody off.
Eliminating.
We have, at the recommendation of department heads and working with HR, we have eliminated approximately 12 positions that were not needed. They were full-time positions that they felt they didn't need to move on without them, or they could move on without them. And I believe 1 or 2 part-time positions.
Yeah, well,
And
the way
now it's true. Let me
I,
finish.
okay, I'm
We
sorry, I
have-
apologize.
That's okay.
I went by what I read in the paper,
Right.
okay?
And
I have been out of touch.
so we have added 5 previously. The previous board had added 5 with the deputies because that was a safety
Yeah.
issue.
I know,
Okay, but since this board's taken over, we've eliminated about, I believe, a dozen full-time and 2 part-times. And we did add a recent part-timer, I believe.
The sheriff's positions were always open.
Yeah,
Couldn't find people.
We're still trying. I think we've only filled 1 of those so
I know
far.
you have, you wanted to hire 5 altogether.
Yeah.
So, okay,
So we
just general conversation, didn't mean to pick on anybody today. And the last thing you brought up about that one of the great main things that happened in history was 55 years ago in July, when I was in a mock prisoner of war camp in Little Creek, Virginia, and getting ready to go to Vietnam. And we spent 3 days out in the boonies and got into a mock prisoner of war camp where they taught you how, Marines taught you how to, if one person fell, then somebody else stood up in line for leadership. And when it ended, I will never forget this in my whole life. We all got lined up with everything, and the national anthem started playing, and they lowered the American flag and announced that Apollo 11 landed on the moon. That's something that brings tears, and I will never forget the rest of my life. And that is one of the great accomplishments of our times. Because if it wouldn't have been for the space program that John F. Kennedy instituted with it, we wouldn't have the electronics we have today.
July 20th, 1969.
Pardon?
July 20th, 1969.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little story. We were out. A friend of mine told me went to this camp down there that you buy shoes that size bigger because your feet swell up. You spend 3 days going through the countryside and in the woods being harassed by Marines trying to read maps along the way. And we had a fellow that didn't seem like he knew what he was doing, but he found Southern there. Well, he let our band of people for 3 days getting us through without getting harassed too much. But when we took a break, I fell asleep leaning up against a tree for better than 2 hours.
Thank you. Third public comment, Sheriff.
I was open. Nice room. I'll move over here with you guys. Couple topics. First, Don had mentioned about the, and Director Hagan had mentioned about the MDJ coverage. We actually started to look for those, as Mike had indicated, back in October. But we all know COVID turned everything upside down as far as employment, getting people who want to, who want to take jobs. And challenge has been a pretty big challenge for us. We've made headway. We have our first of our 5 positions filled. The second you've approved for an August 5 start. The third will start August 12. We have a fourth who has to get his 120 recert. I think that's going to happen. That could poise us to get that appointment higher in September. And we've been really hitting the job fairs. Actually, the National Guard Armory here in the city is going to have a job fair, and we have our information out, so we get called. So we're going to be there at that job fair. So I think it's safe to say we'll likely have 4 of the 5 come September, and we could have 5 of the 5 by the end of the year. Now, before we even got our first appointment, which was 2 months ago, we advanced a sergeant out, as I shared with the commissioners, get our feet wet to get a sense on what's the best, the best way to provide the service with all the considerations at an MDJ office. When the preliminaries are, when the summary hearings are, trying to trying to get the MDJs to position their hearings so we have the best protection and have deputies in place. And now we'll start doing orientation to be able to fill the positions in the field. The positive side of this is we've gotten really positive results from the public, defendants included, defendants' families included. This isn't just, it isn't just the prosecution side. And many times it's not a criminal and a criminal prosecution and defense. No, much of what we deal with are civil. And DA Marino will tell you that, there's a lot of civil stuff that goes on that people, you're gonna cut my tree down, I'm not gonna be happy. Chris knows that we have more of that at times than we do with the criminal side. So program is going really well. The positive comments are really good. And as I projected, and I told the board last year and in your board, I thought we would reduce all that's going on in these MDJ offices by 70 or 80%. And our numbers are showing that we are really reducing and increasing the protection and having judges who don't have to fear sitting on the bench and making decisions. So we're doing well, and I'll report more as we get a little further here into the fall. My second point is the fraud that goes on, our seniors that continue to be victimized, working out with DA Marino and his Chief Detective Tommy Ungard. Happened this week. They call, they say you owe money, you got to pay it. We got a warrant, we're going to pick you up. We've had at least one victim who very readily on the phone gave up $1,000. The advice is really simple. Get a phone call for anything, anybody telling you owe money, hang up. There's no reason to even talk to that person. You need to initiate the call. If any of us in law enforcement want you and you're wanted, we're going to come knock on your door. We're typically not going to call you and say, hey, call for the money, and don't do it. There's no crime. There's no crime if somebody calls you and says you owe money if you hang the phone up. Is there, Mr. DA? And it's just a shame. This lady who was victimized this week lost $1,000. We'd won about 2 years ago. I think he ran to Western Union and paid $3,000. Then he came to our office. So it's all.
That's what they do. Western Union is playing a role in this, not the criminal role, but they're convincing people to take the money to Western Union. I'm on the board now. There's not that good release actually. And as I'm sitting down there, the woman who said she just got a call from a person saying that she didn't show up for jury unit. And her Dudley Anderson, she needs to get, it was almost $300 or $50 to Western Union. And you know where that money's going. Like, first of all, it's like her Dudley has been on the bench for how many years. This is how tired these people are, because they knew that we had jury selection now. We have to get out there constantly telling people that I'm speaking somewhere, particularly senior citizens, that somebody calls you, like Sheriff says, and says you owe money, just hang the phone. There's a process that they have to go through to collect their money.
Yeah.
And it's not the phone.
The problem is they can spoof now, so they can call you and on your caller ID, it says Lycoming County DA or Lycoming County Sheriff. And they immediately believe that's us, and it goes on everywhere. We can't track any of these phones. And we just tell people just don't respond. And my final comment is we'll be out in the public again with our public relations material and our anti-theft and fraud material. National Night Out, Commissioners, comes the first Tuesday in August. I think the 6th. We will be partnering with Lycoming Regional PD for an event in Old Lycoming Township. We'll be in Lewis Township, Trout Run area, at an event there, community event there. We will be in, our moment here. We will be in Muncie Township, at an event down there in Pennsdale, and we'll be in Jersey Shore at an event, I believe, at the pool. So all about getting along, Commissioner. You mentioned that. All about getting along and having building a coalition with folks and getting folks to support what we need to do as far as crime and trying to lessen the impact of what crime creates in the county.
Are you gonna be in Charlotte Park too?
It came number 5 and I ran out of staff.
Oh,
We-
we're gonna be there.
I had already committed it, but I ran out of resource, so. Any questions, Commissioner? Any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, John.
What's needs to be added, a lot of times these calls originate with also India and overseas. A lot of times, the payment they will request somebody to file across like $500 worth of gift cards. Things like that, then they'll ask you, if they do want gift cards, that they are asked to call back, whatever, give them scanners, numbers all of the gift cards, that's also.
Thank you.
One thing on the scheme, perhaps maybe we can, as a group, like coming down, one day. And run an ad, I know it. Pay for it to a certain extent, but. Yeah, my office runs an ad, newspaper, the radio talking about this. Part of it's the same thing for me, commissioners do the same thing for me. We can saturate the area. But some seniors are still reading newspapers, listening to the news. So I want something that does have a history. There are a lot of seniors my age that are by themselves. Let's do it. As we all get older, our skills. Pushing some agencies.
A great deal of seniors do listen to the radio. And radio will be a good way to get it
So
out.
I'm gonna put something together if you don't mind.
Yeah.
If around everyone.
Okay, thank you. Bill.
Larry Stout, Montgomery, Pennsylvania, and I just, since we had a little bit of a baseball theme today, I just want to say there really is a magic to baseball. There really is. And I've been very blessed to be able to travel quite a bit, and I've been to every state except Maine. I got to get to Maine. But I've been literally physically on every single state, no matter where you go. Where are you from? Williamsport. Oh, they know where that is. They know about Little League. It's astounding. But the thing that I want to share, my family, we were missionaries in the country of Latvia, which is a former Soviet Union. It's right on the Baltic Sea. And my son, and this was 1994, I remember so well. He was turning 14, and he said, "Dad, I want to have a baseball game for my birthday." I said, "Okay, we're going to have to do some work." So I went to the Chamber of Commerce, American Chamber of Commerce. "Hey, you guys, anybody play baseball?" Oh, they got excited. My wife was working at the embassy as a nurse and mentioned that. Suddenly we got a bunch of people kind of interested in it. Then it went viral. Suddenly now you got to have a field. Well, they got interested in it, and we had a stadium that was offered. And now we're going to have the we're going to sing the anthem. We're going to do the whole thing. I mean, it was crazy. And everybody wanted to get in on it. And then we got the Coca-Cola gave us T-shirts, so we'd have a team. And then we had to find another. We found a pizza joint, so it was, can't remember what they're known, but so we got the pizza and Coca-Cola playing each other. We invited the ambassador to come to throw out the first ball. Thought that would be nice. He shows up wearing a hat with the outfit, with his glove. I said, I think this is going to be our starting pitcher. This guy didn't come just to throw out the ball. He came to play. It turned out to be, and then they had to actually be explaining everything that was going on because these people didn't know what it was, but it captivated the people. They got all excited about baseball. So suddenly now they create a team, and that eventually became, I think it was into the 2000s. I'm not exactly sure, but now they have a national team that plays for the Confederate of European Baseball. So there really is something about baseball. I don't think there's any other sport that's sort of, and it's complicated. Oh my gosh. Try to explain to people who have never seen baseball, why is it that you get to run past first base, but you can't run past second and third base? You know, why is it sometimes you got to touch them with the ball and other times you just have to touch the base? It seems very simple to us, but trust me, somebody that doesn't know what the game is, it's complicated. So, but I just think we kind of take for granted the fact that we live right here in Baseball USA, and it really does have a mystique about it that I think is just gonna continue. So, thank you.
Thank you. And on that note, we have a local team competing right now on the Little League level. That's actually called Tri-Town, and it's Hughesville, Muncie, and Montgomery kids that are combined, and right now they're in states. They're doing well. They're actually playing this morning right now. It's tied 1-1 in the bottom of the fourth. They're playing Back Mountain. They had won a game yesterday. They had tied the game with the bottom of the sixth, 2-out, 2-run homer, tied it, and then won in extra innings. So the beautiful thing about baseball is how it brings communities together, and especially cheering for kids. Yeah. And you know, bringing the community together and cheering on the kids, because when you think back to when you were 12, you had no friends like you had when you were 12 years old. You're with them constantly. You shared everything with them, and Stand By Me. Yeah, and I believe that's actually one of the last line. Yeah, actually the last line in the movie. And so it's a special time for those kids as they enjoy their summers. So we wish all those teams well, and hopefully they move on to their series.
We just wish one team a little more well than the other.
Wish them all well.
Are we?
Great to see them make it. See, but there's 9 different divisions of Little League, and with the girls and the boys, and we had a special team here a few years ago with South Main Sport. Those girls make it to their World Series, and now watching them compete in high school, what they did on a high school level this past year was remarkable. So, I was associated with the team as an uncle, Hollidaysburg. It was 2 years ago. And not only did they make it to the Little League World Series that year, the following year, they made it to the Babe Ruth World Series, that same group of kids. And I just saw now they're going back to the Babe Ruth World Series. So there's 3 times that have been to the World Series, the same group of kids from the Altoona area, Altoona Hollidaysburg. Yeah, they've been some great teams.
I get to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. 2011. Yeah, Keystone team. So we wish those kids well, and as they enjoy their summers. So we have any comment online for?
Just one, it's from Lyco Secrets. Hello, commissioners. It's a good day to be in Lycoming County.
Yeah.
Actually, no, you had your one chance.
Tom Ungar, Chief County Detective. Sheriff Lusk actually reminded me of something, and you may be aware of this. If you are, I apologize for bringing it up, but all police agencies are struggling to hire people right now. As you know, all police officers have to be Act 120 certified. Right now, there's only 2 places to do that local: Harrisburg, Harrisburg Area Community College, and Mansfield. Mansfield's struggling bad. They've Commonwealth University, they combined with Bloomsburg and Lock Haven. There's actually rumors that Mansfield's not going to survive much longer. OPEC has recently put out, they're asking for applications for police academies in the future. Penn College jumped on that. Penn College will be submitting an application in August to open a Act 120 school there. So I bring that up. That would be really beneficial to this area, to Lycoming County. Sheriff Lusk, Williamsport Bureau of Police, county detectives, we could go recruit directly from there. We're right there. It's in our backyard. We could have some influence. It may help us find personnel down the future or in the future. So the reason I bring it up, they reached out to the local law enforcement for some letters of endorsement to support them. I don't know if anybody will reach out to the county commissioners at all or anything, but I wanted to bring that to you. Patrick Marty from Penn College he has the lead on that right now. So I just wanted to bring that up in this forum. If you're approached by that, there's no downside to that I can see. It would be in our backyard and we'd have direct access to graduates, students that get certified.
This all came about when we had a lunch up there. Situation. Talk about this joint activity. Because security there. But we brought that up when I graduated at college. And I said, talking about Mansfield's going to shut their operation down. I don't know what Harrisburg did. They explained the program to them. They jumped on that right away. I think that's going to turn into something that we never expected. Whole criminal justice program at college. Something to do with associate degree and a 4-year degree, but also a place where we train police officers locally and the crop, the college and all that's.
I've always wondered, as a state school where Mansfield's located geographically, it's obviously a challenge. And if they could because if Mansfield University closes, it will be so detrimental to the whole northern tier, to not just there, but Wellsboro and all those. And I know, like, we don't have a dog in that fight, but still, they're our neighbors. And if the state could come up with a vision to make a cooperative with New York State, that they could allow kids, so they're not paying full out-of-state tuition, or to make coming to Mansfield reasonable from Elmira and Corning and all those places. Because the in-state, out-of-state tuition is such a barrier. But if they don't do something, yeah, Mansfield University's in trouble, and the whole northern tier's in trouble.
I don't know the specific October number.
Way down. They're way down.
It's gonna happen.
Okay,
I got one other one.
yeah, one of them, okay, yes.
From Tony Cooper, a heartfelt thank you to the commissioners for acknowledging the critical role of the ADA. Championing the rights of all individuals sets a commendable example.
Thank you for the comment. We've completed our agenda, so we'll be adjourned. Our next meeting will be on Thursday, August 1st.
Thank you.
Thank you.